Hello! In today's video, we shall learn in detail about meristematic tissue in plants. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding about characteristics of meristems and their classification based on location, origin, function, and plane of division. Let us begin with the characteristics of meristematic tissue in plants. Meristematic tissue is characterized by actively dividing undifferentiated cells known as meristems. The cells are spherical, oval, polygonal, or rectangular in shape with no intercellular spaces between them. All cells are similar, densely packed, and possess cell wall made up of cellulose. Meristematic tissue are living, thin-walled, with dense cytoplasm. They possess a single large prominent nucleus with relatively very small few vacuoles or no vacuoles at all. They perform very high metabolic activities. Meristems are responsible for plant growth, development, and regeneration. These cells are totipotent and are therefore capable of giving rise to any type of cell. Next is classification of meristem based on location. Apical meristem is a region of actively dividing cells found at the tips of roots and shoots of a plant. At the root apex, these meristems are protected by the root cap. At the shoot apex, the apical meristems are enclosed within developing leaves or buds. Apical meristem is also known as primary meristem as it is responsible for the primary growth of plant, which involves elongation of plant and production of new tissues. It also helps in cell enlargement. Apical meristem is essential for the vertical growth of the plant as it allows the plant to extend their shoot towards sunlight and the roots to penetrate deeper into the soil. It also plays a key role in tissue differentiation and continuous formation of new parts. Apical meristem gives rise to protoderm, which forms the epidermis, procambium, which forms the vascular tissue giving rise to the primary xylem and phloem, and the ground tissue, which forms the cortex and pith. By the way, if you're getting some value out of this video, please like and share the video so that all of us can learn, unlearn, and relearn together. Also, please consider subscribing the channel and press the bell icon to get instant notification of all the upcoming videos. Intercalary meristem is a primary meristematic tissue present at the base of leaves and stems or at the base of internodes or between permanent tissues. It is derived from the apical meristem and retains the ability to divide. Intercalary meristem helps a plant to grow vertically. The internode elongates, which contributes to the increase in length of stem as seen in bamboo. Intercalary meristem plays a vital role in rapid regeneration of plant parts. It also helps in healing and repairing damaged tissues. It is important for agricultural crops that are frequently grazed by animals and facilitates the plant to adapt to mechanical injury. Lateral meristem is also known as secondary meristem as it divides and gives rise to secondary permanent tissues. It is located parallel to the long axis of root and shoot. It is seen in dicot plants like mango and gymnosperms like pine. There are two types of lateral meristems. They are vascular cambium and cork cambium. Vascular cambium lies between primary xylem and primary phloem. It produces secondary xylem called wood and secondary phloem contributing to the formation of secondary vascular tissue. Cork cambium or phellogen produces cork or phloem and secondary cortex or phelloderm known as bark. Cork cambium, phloem and phelloderm constitute the periderm. Cork cambium replaces the epidermis in mature plants with bark and cork. The bark prevents water loss and protects the plant against pathogens. Lateral meristem increases the girth or thickness of stem and root. The woody tissue formed enhances strength and structural support to the plant and also contributes to wood production. Lateral meristem is essential for the survival of perennial plants. Next, let us understand the theories related to apical meristem. Apical cell theory was proposed by Nageli. The apical cell of a shoot is always found to be in the most active state. According to the apical cell theory, a single apical cell known as the apical initial is responsible for the development of all the aerial parts of the plant. It is considered to be the structural and functional unit of apical meristem. Histogen theory was proposed by Hans Stein. According to this theory, the apical meristem consists of three distinct zones of meristematic cells called histogen, which are responsible for the development of different plant tissues. They are dermatogen, periblenum, and plerome. Dermatogen gives rise to the outermost layer of meristem, forming the epidermis in shoots and epiblemma in roots. Periblenum is present internal to dermatogen and peripheral to plerome. It forms the cortex of root and shoot and inner tissues of leaves. Plerome gives rise to the vascular tissues of root and shoot. It also forms the pith. According to Hans Stein, dermatogen, periblenum, and plerome arise from independent initials of apical meristem. Tunica Corpus theory is the most accepted theory. It was proposed by Smith. This theory is concerned with planes of cell division in the apex. According to this theory, there are two functional regions in the apical meristem, namely tunica and corpus. Tunica consists of the outermost peripheral layers of tissue in the apical meristem. These cells divide anticlinally, increasing the surface area and allowing radial expansion of the plant parts. Tunica surrounds the corpus. It is involved in the formation of epidermal tissue and plays a vital role in the morphological development of the plant. Corpus lies below the tunica and consists of inner layers of cells. Cells of corpus divide periclinally and is responsible for the longitudinal growth of the plant. Corpus helps in the development of internal tissues like ground tissue and vascular tissue, thus playing a key role in the transport of water, nutrients, and sugar in plants. The shoot apical meristem, found at shoot tips, is responsible for the formation of leaves, flowers, inflorescence, and lateral buds. The tunica forms the outer epidermal layers, while the corpus forms the vascular tissue. The root apical meristem, found at the root tips, is responsible for root elongation and formation of root cap. In this case, the tunica contributes to the formation of the root cap, while the corpus forms the vascular tissue. Next is classification of meristem based on origin. Promeristems, otherwise known as primordial meristems, are considered as the first formed meristem which originates from the developing embryo. Promeristems consist of young initials and their derivatives. The cells are undifferentiated, isodimetric, thin-walled with active dense cytoplasm and prominent nuclei. They are located at the tip of shoot and root of the plant and give rise to primary meristem. Promeristems help in the vertical growth of the plant. They produce new cells by dividing mitotically. They also facilitate the overall growth and development of plants. Primary meristem originates from the promeristem and is responsible for the primary growth of the plant. It is present throughout the plant life and gives rise to the primary tissue. The primary meristem is located at the apices of root and shoot and also at the nodal region of stem and its branches. The cells divide rapidly, and after losing the capacity to divide, they form primary permanent tissue. As they facilitate primary growth, it results in the increase in the length of plant. Secondary meristem originates from the primary tissue of plants. It is present in the internal region of the stem and root. It is responsible for the secondary growth of plants and help in the formation of secondary tissues like vascular tissue and cork. Secondary meristem helps in increasing girth or thickness of the plant. It also protects and repairs the worn out parts by adding new cells to the primary plant body. Meristems can also be classified based on function. Protoderm is the thin outermost layer of the meristematic embryo. It forms the epidermal tissue system in plants like epidermis, stomata, hairs, etc. It protects the plant from mechanical injury or shock. Procambium is the innermost layer of the meristematic embryo. The cells are narrow, elongated, and the elongation takes place in the longitudinal plane of axis. The cells are highly meristematic and undergo frequent mitotic division. Procambium forms the vascular tissue system consisting of xylem and phloem and therefore helps in the transport of water, minerals, and food materials. Ground meristem, otherwise known as fundamental meristem, represents the undifferentiated tissue of primary meristem. It comprises of large thick-walled cells and forms the ground tissue system. It includes the endodermis, pericycle, cortex, and pith. Cells formed may be parenchyma, collenchyma, or sclerenchyma. Ground tissue helps in storage, gives structural support, helps in photosynthesis and plant growth. Finally, classification of meristem based on plane of division. Mass meristem or block meristem has cells dividing in all planes, produces a mass of cells, and help in increasing the volume as seen in meristems of endosperm, cortex, and pip. Rib or file meristem shows cells dividing in one plane anticlinally. The cells get arranged in rows or columns as seen in the filaments of algae or in the formation of some layers of cortex and pip. Plate meristem has cells dividing anticlinally in two planes at right angles to each other, resulting in the formation of a plate-like structure. It increases the area of the plant part as seen in the formation of the leaf blade. Let us summarize. Meristems are actively dividing cells. Based on their location, they are classified into apical meristem, intercalary meristem, and lateral meristem. Based on their origin, they are classified into promeristem, primary meristem, and secondary meristem. Based on their function, they are classified into protoderm, procambium, and ground tissue. Based on their plane of division, meristems are classified into mass meristem, rib meristem, and plate meristem. So today we have learnt in detail about characteristics of meristematic tissues in plants and their classification based on the meristem's location, origin, function, and plane of division. I have some practice questions for you. Please share your answers in the comment section below. You can pause the video and write down the questions if you like. Thank you so much for your time and participation. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing the channel and press the bell icon to get instant notification of all the upcoming videos. Also, if you want to discuss any particular topic in biology, please mention that in the comments section below. I'll see you there. Goodbye. All the best.